Have you ever noticed how your sex addiction is secretly destroying your life in ways you didn't even realize? You might think you have it under control, but here are 6 hidden impacts that are silently ruining everything you've worked for. Before we dive in, let me share something that happened just last week in my practice. A new client came to see me. Successful career, beautiful family, seemingly perfect life. But when he finally tallied up the hours he'd spent acting out over the past year, he was shocked. The number was equivalent to a full-time job. That's an entire year of his life gone. And that's just one of the hidden impacts we're going to discuss today. Let's start with the first hidden impact that most people never notice until it's too late. The massive amount of time that's being stolen from your life. When clients first come to see me, they often say,
"I'm only spending a few hours a week on this."
But here's what's actually happening. Think about the last time you got sucked into watching porn. You tell yourself it'll just be a few minutes, but then you look up and 3 hours have passed. You're late for work, your family is wondering what you've been doing. According to research, 70% of individuals with sex addiction have lost jobs due to time spent in their addiction. But it's not just about those hours, but also about the cumulative effect over months and years. The total amount of time in this addiction is startling. Let me share a story about a client. We'll call him Jim. He was a successful sales director who thought he had everything under control. One day I had him track every minute spent on his addiction for a week. The porn viewing, the recovery time, the planning, everything. When we added it up, it came to 28 hours in just 1 week. That's like having a second part-time job. Think about all the productive hours he lost in his life. The second hidden impact goes beyond just lost time. It's actively destroying your career in ways you might not realize. And this one really hits home because I've seen it happen to so many. When you're staying up late acting out, then dragging yourself to work the next day, mentally and physically drained, you're not just tired, you're literally sabotaging your future. Studies show that sex addiction leads to increased emotional disturbance and an inability to manage stress, which directly impacts your work performance. Lack of sleep and energy drain from acting out all the time makes being a top performer in your career nearly impossible. I had a client, an attorney, who kept missing out on partner opportunities. He couldn't figure out why until he connected the dots. His late night acting out led to morning brain fog, missed deadlines, and reputation for being unreliable. He was literally watching his career dreams slip away. Now, this third impact is probably the most heartbreaking one I see. How sex addiction secretly kills your non-sexual intimacy with your partner. And what's fascinating is that about 40% of sex addicts report experiencing serious marital stress even before their addiction is discovered. Here's what happens. Your energy, your emotional presence, your honesty and transparency, everything that makes a relationship work, it's all being channeled into the addiction. Your partner feels this void, even if they don't know what's causing it. You become irritable, distant, preoccupied. The small moments that build intimacy, the conversations over coffee, the shared jokes, the emotional support, they just don't happen. I remember working with a couple where the wife said something that really stuck with me. She said, even before I knew about his addiction, I felt like I was living with a ghost. He was physically there, but emotionally he was somewhere else entirely. The fourth hidden impact is something that sneaks up on you so gradually you might not even notice it when it's happening. The complete drain on your energy and vitality. This isn't just about being tired, it's about losing your life force. Research shows that the compulsive nature of sex addiction leads to significant energy depletion. Think about it, you're constantly in a cycle of acting out, recovering, feeling the shame, planning the next episode. It's exhausting on every level, physically, mentally, and spiritually. One client described it perfectly. He said, I used to think I was just getting older, but after 6 months in recovery, I feel like I'm 20 years old again. I had no idea how much energy my addiction was stealing from me. The fifth impact is particularly insidious because it masquerades as something else. The effect on your mood, specifically depression and anxiety. Here's what's fascinating. Many people think their addiction is helping them cope with depression, when in reality it's often causing the depression. Let me explain. When we act out, we trigger the pleasure centers of our brain, flooding it with dopamine. Over time, these centers get depleted and we actually need the acting out behavior just to feel normal. When we're not acting out, we're experiencing what feels like depression, but it's actually just withdrawal. Just like a drug addict needs a fix, the sex addict needs to act out to feel normal. I had a client who had been on antidepressants for years years. After 6 months of recovery work, his psychiatrist was able to reduce his medication because his depression had improved dramatically. The addiction was literally altering his brain chemistry. The final hidden impact is perhaps the most subtle but far-reaching: the gradual isolation and death of your social life. This happens so slowly that most people don't even realize it until they're completely alone. Research shows that individuals with sex addiction often withdraw from social interactions as they prioritize their addiction over relationship. It's not just about the time spent alone acting out, it's about the shame and secrecy that makes you pull away from genuine connections. I remember a client telling me, "I looked at my phone one day and realized that I hadn't had a real conversation with a friend in months. I had plenty of hookup apps, but no one to call when I needed to talk." Here's the truth: these 6 hidden impacts of sex addiction create a devastating cycle that gets worse over time. But there's hope. I've seen thousands of men break free from this cycle and rebuild their lives, their relationships, and their careers. The key is recognizing these warning signs early and taking action before more damage is done. If you're recognized yourself in any of these 6 impacts, it's time to make a change. You don't have to live in this cycle anymore. And if you're seeing these trends in your life, I've created a free training that shows you the exact steps my clients take to break free from this addiction and rebuild their lives. Click the link below to register. And if this video helped you to a deeper awareness, make sure to like and subscribe for more insights that can help you break free.